Okay, this is TempleOS 5-minute random code walkthrough, episode 83, and I'm your host, Terry Davis. And today we are in, oh, isn't that special? Okay, this is a optimization on text documents. This is an excellent place to start if we want to, this is an excellent teaching. Okay, so what we have is a utility that you give it a doc opt, you give it a file mask, and it sets the flag for recurse and text files only. Everyone needs to, one of the first things you have to get familiar with is, well, the find files routine. Find files. You have when you want to look for files that match a name in a directory, you give it flags. Usually, all the utilities that use this, you can give them flags for. +R is recurse. That means to send into the directories, all the subdirectories, and then all the subdirectories. Anyway. I have the ability to filter, to limit to just text files, source files, ahead of time, just in time, graphics files. Anyway, so what this does is this first sets flags, turns on the R and the T, and then it sets the flags based on the text that you when you do this file, the argument, you give it a text argument. So, for example, you might say at the command line, well, you might say doc opt, well, you're probably going to do it on all files, /*, comma, and then you give it options. You can turn off recurse, since that's turned on by default, and you can turn on just in time, something like that. Anyway, so then it calls this routine, and it passes. I wonder why I made a. Oh, that's why. Okay, so it passes a find files is find files gets the files in a mask, and so it makes a linked list. It returns a linked list of directory structures. So a directory entry has a link to the next one in the chain. It goes up to the parent if there is one, or it goes to subdirectories. So the way you traverse a linked list is you do a loop with. So this will traverse a linked list, and then as you're going, you traverse down. This is recursive, and you do the subdirectory, and then it's gonna, when it gets to this point, it's gonna jump in, and now it's into itself, and now it's doing the linked list again. So that's how you traverse a tree. Anyway, we delete the entry with that it. Find files gave us the entry, and we delete it here, and we get the next one ahead of time before we delete it, so that we you don't access it after you delete it. Anyway, now we process each directory. If it's an attribute directory, you don't process, you recurse. If it's a file, you call optimize file, and we're giving it returns a count of changes. I do believe that's the number of optimizes, and so this optimizes a file. Now in TempleOS, someone said in Unix everything's a file. In TempleOS everything's a document. The command line is a document that we're editing. Everything you see is pretty much a document. And so you need to learn this document format. It's a linked list, a circular linked list. And anyway, we read the whole document, and this gives us okay, we call optimize document, and we print the number that we, if we got some changes, then we write the document, then we delete the document. So here's how we traverse the document. We start at the root. I don't like the word head anyway. I call it the root. Most people would call it the head of a queue. I call it the root of a queue. Anyway, so it has a next and a last, and then we go in a circle around the queue, just like it's similar to how we went in the linked list, except with a queue, you search for the beginning. When you get to the beginning, again, that's the end. Anyway, so when you get back to the beginning, that's the end. It's a circle. So now we optimized a document entry. So the documents have so the documents have a type for each entry. So where's the type? Okay, so you can have a text entry, you can have a new line, a soft new line. When you're doing word wrap, it distinguishes soft and hard new lines. When it saves the file, it saves the cursor position so that when you have an IDE, it'll pull up the file and put the cursor in the same spot it was saved. Anyway, a tab. If you do a clear entry, that will, I can show you what happens. I'm going to do $, you can't see this, but $CL $, and it clears it. So if it hits a clear entry, it clears it. That almost never happens. Page break. So we can hit control return is a page break. And anyway, page length. If you notice, it's 66 lines. If you do a page length, Control L will do will let you put, let's put page settings, let's put page length, let's set it to 20. Now if I say control carriage return, we're about 20 lines down, Anyway, left margin, right margin, footer, word wrap. So getting back to what our business is, we want to optimize entries. What are some of the optimizations we can do? If it's a link, then what we do is we check if it starts with FI. So the